Hello everyone, Storm101 here. Today we'll be talking about a very active pattern for next week across parts of the central and eastern United States where we can see snow chances, lots of rain, even strong to severe thunderstorms who are back in the forecast as well, and also some pretty windy conditions for a lot of us as well. If you guys do like weather related content, you can always subscribe to my channel. I do this stuff here on my channel. You can always look at some of my previous videos. You guys will know that I've done this. I would really appreciate that. Uh, so we're going to get started with the European model, and right now we do have an Alberta Clipper system. It's actually a stronger one moving across parts of Canada. That's going to bring us with showers. It'll mix in with some snow later on tonight into tomorrow. There goes another weak Clipper system. Here comes a strong low moving across parts of Montana. That's also going to bring windy conditions. If you guys haven't heard already, they've been doing with a lot of wind recently. And it's not just like 60-mile-an-hour winds. We're talking about winds up to 90 miles an hour some days. It's been pretty crazy up there. But anyways, this is our first system here. So this is Sunday afternoon. We got some snow going on across parts of North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. This one here will be deepening as it continues to move on to the southeast. Excuse me. And now we're in to Monday morning. So we got strong low up in just on the northern part of Lake Michigan. We got snow on the backside here. Could be blizzard conditions. It's a possibility we could see some blizzard conditions on the backside of that system. Winds will definitely be cranking on the backside here. Meanwhile, in the warm sector, there could be some stronger storms across parts of Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana. It could go into the overnight hours as well. And we do have this trailing front here in the warm sector again, moving up a little further to the northeast. You definitely notice there are these isobars across parts of Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York are pretty close to each other. That means there's going to be some stronger winds across these areas in here, which we'll look into that in a little bit as well. And here is getting it to almost noon. We got a line of what could be some strong showers, maybe some thunderstorms mixed in with that. Those could certainly be pretty gusty. And the European model is pretty aggressive with the low pressure system, another 87 millibar low. That's a pretty strong low. And then again, possibly near blizzard conditions, maybe in upper Michigan, perhaps into parts of Wisconsin as well. It's going to be windy on the backside of that system. Really, it's going to be windy about anywhere in general here. In the warm sector or in the cold sector, it's going to be a little bit windy. It does continue to move very quickly to the northeast. Here comes system number 2 in the middle of next week. We'll have to pay attention to this one here as well. And there's a little bit more of uncertainty with this system here as well. What the European model suggested here, we could see a low pressure system move through parts of the Appalachian Mountains. In the cold sector, we do have some snow. Now, my main concern here is that with a setup like this, kind of near the Appalachian Mountain areas, parts of West Virginia, maybe to parts of Kentucky and Ohio, we could see some freezing rain if this were to be correct. So we kind of look into the next frame. There could be some freezing rain, so that's something we have to pay attention to as well. And as we kind of go on throughout the day on Wednesday, if the European model is correct, that's a big if, there could be a winter storm for parts of the Northeast. And then you look back off to the west, there's another system there that goes by parts of the upper Midwest. Here comes another system. So then again, a pretty active pattern could happen next week. And we haven't seen anything like this in a long time, so certainly going to be very interesting to watch. Let's check out the GFS model here, and pretty similar to the other models here, not as aggressive with the pressure of the low, 995 millibars. It's a little faster as well, but still having a lot of wind to work with on this system in the warm sector and even on the backside of low as well. Then again, could be near blizzard conditions across parts of Wisconsin, upper Michigan, maybe maybe as far west as parts of Minnesota as well. Here's a line of some showers, maybe some thunderstorms for parts of the lower Ohio Valley, back up to parts of the south as well. And then again, that system will move very quickly to the northeast. Areas of the northeast, most of you guys will likely experience rain and a lot of wind first. And then on the backside of that cold front, we could see some snow to mix in as well, especially for the higher elevations as well. Here comes your next system here, and it's not very aggressive here as like the European mall is, but it's still a system either way. It looks like it kind of gets a little bit better when it gets into parts of the northeast there. Maybe some snow up there. Here comes another system coming in behind that. And here comes another system behind that as well. And this is getting pretty far out. This will likely change towards the 10-day period. But if this is correct, that could be a pretty big cutoff low there as well. Checking out the Canadian model, and also very similar to the other models here for the first system. Pretty similar to the European model here, a 988 millibar low. Here's your strong cold front here that goes back into parts of Texas. Very windy in the warm sector, possibly near blizzard conditions. Across parts of Wisconsin and Michigan. You also do have the lines with showers and thunderstorms. Could get very gusty up into parts of the Ohio Valley with some of those showers and storms. That passes through. And this is pretty similar to the European model. In this case here, it shows widespread light snow across the Great Lakes, even to parts of the Ohio Valley. And if this is also correct, could be a nasty ice event for parts of North Carolina, Virginia, even to parts of Kentucky and Ohio, even into parts of Maryland and Pennsylvania as well. And then it shows a big snowstorm for parts of the Northeast. But right now we're kind of mainly focused on the first two systems. The next ones after that, still a lot of uncertainty with these here. What's actually interesting that the Canadian ball is actually pretty similar to the GFS with that next system there. But again, it's something to watch for now for the system 10 days out. But I will say that's likely going to change. It's so far out. But we still have to watch the system number 1 Sunday into Monday, and here's system number 2 in the middle of next week. Let's check out the Gfs Ensembles here. This is a mean of 20 members. And it does show a pretty good agreement here. It's not going to be as strong as what the other models show since it's just a mean. But it does have a pressure of 994 millibars, which is a pretty good agreement for the Gfs Ensembles. But you definitely notice here with these millibars here, these millibar lines here, it certainly be windy out there as well. That kind of moves out. Here comes your next system right here. You got an area of some heavier precipitation here across parts of the Dixie Alley, Tennessee Valley, and even to parts of the Ohio Valley, as well as some of that heavier precipitation. Here comes system number 3, and this is for Thursday, December the 9th. And this will be a pretty concerning setup here as well. If this is going to be correct, we could see quite a bit of rain across some of these regions here as well. With some of these systems here going by almost every day, you could certainly see some flooding issues for some of those areas as well, which we actually do need some rain across parts of Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, and Tennessee. So this would be a good amount of rain. This will be a pretty good rain. But areas that really do need some rain would be the Carolinas. We did have a wildfire in western North Carolina, which is not good, a couple days ago there. So they certainly do need some rain as well. All right, let's talk about the wind side of things here. So we're going back to the European model, just looking on a different site here. It'll certainly be windy again on the backside of the system here. Pretty aggressive there. It's got wind gusts really anywhere from 30 to maybe as high as 55 miles an hour. And typically these models here are a little bit overdone when it comes to wind gusts, so maybe take it off maybe by 5 to 10 miles an hour. And that could be your forecast. So maybe we'll say maybe at max 40, maybe to 45 miles an hour with those wind gusts. But those higher elevations, especially in Colorado and Wyoming, winds will likely be stronger up there as well. As we kind of go into the evening hours on Sunday, you'll start to notice here those winds there in the Ohio Valley region, they're going to start to crank in these areas in here. But still on the backside of low, still very windy here. Still going to be a pretty good wind chill up there. Here's 3 o'clock in the morning here for Monday. Possibly near blizzard conditions there if you do see some snow across parts of Minnesota and Iowa. And then winds start to really pick up across parts of Tennessee, Kentucky, and Ohio. If we move on to 7 o'clock in the morning, check out some of these wind gusts here along that cold front. Wind gusts could be as high as 50 miles an hour from the European model here. If we check out the GFS model here, it's a little faster, but it is similar to the European model as well. So, something we have to watch for. Here's another area of very gusty winds, and that's up in parts of New York, up there, even to parts of Pennsylvania. Backing up a little bit, not much away of strong winds on the backside of low there. Wind gusts with the 37 miles an hour isn't too bad. Then again, we could see that possibility for near blizzard conditions there across parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, maybe into parts of Michigan as well. So that's something we also got to keep an eye on as well. And why not? We could check to see how much snow this model is indicating or when to show. And this includes for the first couple, at least this first system here, which could bring maybe an inch or two of snow, and that could be a whole lot. That'd be an Alberta Clipper system. But then we kind of go to the next 5 days. Here comes that winter storm that may try to roll through. Snowfall amounts for the next 5 days could be close to 10 inches. That's an indication by the GFS. European model is also a little bit similar as well. And with some of that lake effect snow kind of mixing in, you could see over a foot of snow in parts of upper Michigan. So that's also a possibility as well. So we could sort of see a decent amount of snow up there in those areas. As we kind of go throughout the day on Monday, here's your cold front right here. Goes all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico, the backside of low. It's definitely snowy and windy. If we do check out those wind gusts again, boy, the Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, it's windy. Gonna be windy out there. That's for certain. Here's the GFS model here. Showing the windiest part probably in the warm sector there close to the frontier. So that'd be from West Virginia to parts of New York. And then this is when the low pressure system really starts to pick up speed. And really most of the Northeast could certainly see some strong wind gusts as well. Maybe anywhere from 30 to maybe as high as 45 miles an hour. Those higher elevations though, we can certainly see some stronger winds up there as well. Here's the European model. It's very aggressive over Lake Ontario. Wind gusts up to 74 miles an hour. That's probably overdone. But either way, strong wind gust seems likely here, especially in those higher elevations, as well for parts of the Northeast. Here's another way to kind of check out those wind gusts here. This is from the GFS model. Here, this is a little bit more detail here of those wind gusts, and I'll tell you guys what, it's worse than what Windy was showing. And this is Vid2 Sky here, and then again, the wind gusts are a little bit more detailed, and it's worse. Down in parts of Kentucky, wind gusts up to 55 miles an hour. That's pretty impressive there, if you ask me, for wind gusts. Even without showers and thunderstorms, wind gusts could get to that strong. And then again, like I said, probably going to be overdone here, so we'll probably say wind gusts and max could be 45 miles an hour. Still enough to maybe cause some issues out there as well, maybe some minor tree damage out there. Certainly something we need to keep an eye on. Especially when people got Christmas decorations out there for this time of year. So if you guys do have any Christmas decorations that could potentially get blown away, just be sure to put them up, especially probably Sunday. It's probably when you should put some of those Christmas decorations up because things are certainly going to get windy for those regions. You can see that continues up into parts of the Northeast as well. It's got wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour, and then again, that could be overdone. You can see how it continues to move up for the entire Northeast will experience very gusty winds as well 30 to 40 miles an hour at max up there. Well, maybe up to 45 miles an hour some places as well. So it's certainly going to be pretty windy in those regions as well from that first system. Let's talk about the severe weather side of things. So we'll go back to 4 o'clock on Sunday. This is the GFS. And you can see here, this is your cape. So this is, or you could say instability. It's the same thing. And you can see here, most your greatest instability looks to be in southeastern Texas, 1500 to 2000. That'd be favorable for severe weather. But really, all you need is 1,000 joules per kilogram to get some severe weather going. Even for 500 joules per kilogram, that could get some stronger storms to get going as well. But 1,000 cape is what you usually need for severe weather. It's all you need. And we do have some places a little further up north that could see 1,000 joules per kilogram of cape. But then again, this is just one model here. It's pretty far to the north here. It gets as far north as parts of southwestern Missouri there. Cape is not the only thing you need for severe weather. Wind shear is another thing, and there is some wind shear out there. Parts of eastern Texas, you got numbers ranging from 20 to 30, which will be favorable for severe weather as well. That's all you need there. Really below 20, it kind of gets to the weaker side of wind shear. But it does show some of the greatest wind shear, mainly into parts of northeastern Texas, northern Louisiana, Arkansas, and southeastern Oklahoma. So your area is kind of confined, at least at the 4 o'clock hour, more confined in this region than here. They may have the greatest risk for some stronger storms. Here's helicity here, and it also shows a good amount of helicity as well. This is another ingredient for severe weather. You really only need over 150. And you can see here some places could double that amount as well. So that will certainly be favorable for severe weather. But with conditions like this, it'll be favorable for damaging winds, maybe some hail, and also maybe some tornadoes as well. Isolated tornadoes. We'll check out some of the soundings there. Here's the lift index, and you can see here, as you kind of go further south, it's pretty favorable for some lift as well. So there's going to be plenty of lift out there as well. We'll go back to European model. All we got on here is instability, cape. If we go to 6 o'clock here for instability, it's not as widespread, but it also does have the greatest instability in southeastern Texas. But you do have other areas that has at least 1,000 joules per kilogram of cape, so southeastern Oklahoma, western Arkansas, even up into southeastern Missouri as well. So maybe your severe weather threat may get as far north as parts of southern Missouri at around this time frame. Here's 9 o'clock here, and this could be an overnight threat for severe weather across parts of Texas and Louisiana. Yeah, going throughout the night here. This is where your instability would kind of be maxed out. A little over 2,000 in some places in here. And then again, throughout the overnight hours, could see some severe weather across parts of Texas and Louisiana. And as expected here, the instability values do go down as we kind of go throughout the night as well. Kind of going back to the GFS model here. Here's 10 o'clock here for Sunday, and again, plenty of instability out there. Wind shear typically into the overnight hours does get a little bit stronger here, which in this case here, it doesn't show a whole lot of wind shear out there. Kind of backs off a little bit, but story to velocity numbers though do go up as well. You kind of see here how these the story to velocity numbers do continue to go up until the morning hours. That's going to be where it kind of reaches its peak. So then again, some instability, some wind shear. It'll be favorable for some strong to severe storms. If anybody kind of goes by the category risk, I'll kind of give this day here maybe to a marginal cyclist for now. But if things do uptrend a little bit more, maybe enhance, but that's at its highest right now. But marginal cyclist seems pretty likely here. Let's actually check out the superset composite here from the GFS model here. And this is a combination of instability and wind shear. It does have the greatest concentration in parts of east central Texas. Number of 5. It's not a very high number. It's a decent number. And you can see here, You do have a decent hodograph there. That'll be favorable for a tornado threat. You can see here, the air won't be very unstable there. It won't be very unstable. There is a dry air in the mid-levels, which will help with those updrafts. Will also help those updrafts is the lap rates. We'll have slightly higher lap rates. Plenty of wind shear out there. Downdraft Cape, just about favorable for some gusty winds as well. So all hazards are possible in that zone there. If we go a little further to the northeast and parts of northern Arkansas, pretty similar here. Seems like the wind shear and the lap rates is a little bit higher here, a little bit better in this environment, but the instability is a little bit lower. But still a pretty good environment there for some severe weather up there as well. So certainly something that to keep an eye on. As well, and then again, you can see here how the severe weather threat goes throughout the overnight hours in parts of Texas and Louisiana, even into parts of southern Arkansas as well. So then again, all hazards are possible. Here's the NAM here, and this is for Sunday evening. And it's a little bit slower here. It's not as widespread either. So we kind of play this through here. It seems like its greatest concentration may be more focused in southern Texas, but this could be an outlier. But we'll see how the models kind of trend towards over the next couple of days or so, especially when the higher resolution models kind of come into range. That's when we kind of get a better idea. But all hazards are possible. An area I'll watch for the potential for severe weather be across parts of eastern Texas, southeast Oklahoma, southern Missouri, a good chunk of Arkansas, and even to parts of Louisiana as well. These will be the areas I will monitor for the potential for some strong to severe storms as well. Here's the next concern I have here is with a setup like this here, a meteorologist mentioned this here on Twitter, that this setup here could be similar to December of 1978. And around that time period, we have a very similar setup to this. And the end result here is that we had big time flash flooding events, and some of those were very significant across parts of the Ohio Valley and the Tennessee valleys as well. And so we kind of check out these rainfall amounts for the next 10 days here. This is the GFS model here. It's pretty aggressive over Kentucky with rainfall amounts up to 5 inches, but generally speaking here, we could see widespread amounts of 2 to 4 inches of rain, which is a decent amount of rain here for the next 10 days here. And this is where we can see that active pattern here where these systems here kind of go over some of those same regions here. An area I'll probably pay attention to for the greatest concentration of some heavy rainfall. Let me do a better circle there. Well, might probably have to be in this region in here, I would say here. Let's check out some other models here. Here's the European model solution here, and that's a little bit further south of the heavier rainfall totals, but you do see here it does have some rainfall amounts up to 7 inches of rain. In some places, it's isolated though, but then again, generally speaking, 2 to 4 inches of rain as well. And some of these areas do need some rain here, especially for parts of the Carolinas there. It's starting to get pretty dry over there. So those will start to be some good news there. And it could be a general 1 to 2 inches rain, which is a pretty good rain for them folks there. But when you kind of go further to the west here, especially across parts of Kentucky and Tennessee, we don't really need a whole lot of rain. So this could lead to some flooding issues as well. Here's the Canadian model. And again, for parts of Kentucky, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, northern Georgia, maybe to parts of western North Carolina, could see a decent amount of rain, in general 2 to 4 inches, with some places getting close to 5 inches of rain as well. Here's the Gfs Ensembles here. This is a mean of 20 members. It has the greatest concentration of some of the heaviest rain to be across parts of Kentucky, Tennessee, northern Alabama, and northeastern Mississippi, where the mean has it getting close to that 4-inch mark, which is a pretty good mean there for 10 days out as well. And if you kind of look these into individual runs, which I know this is going to be hard to see, but you can see here that some of these models here do show a pretty significant rainfall event for some of these areas here as well. So it's certainly something we need to watch for as well. But anybody who lives in parts of the lower Ohio Valley and the Tennessee Valley may need to watch this potential flooding threat as well for next week, but it's certainly going to be a very active pattern for the Central Eastern United States for next week. But anyways, guys, this is our for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you like my channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell notification so you never miss an upload. If you guys have questions about this, in the comment section down below. I'll answer you guys questions. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.